You rescued a dog and you've been giving them all the love in the world to try and make up for all the love they didn't have. And you're giving them the best life possible. And now that 3 to 6 months have gone by since you adopted them, they've started panicking when you're gone, barking, howling, destroying the house. Basically, they've developed separation anxiety. And so, because some time has lapsed between the adoption and the development of separation anxiety, you end up asking yourself, did I cause this? Did I cause my rescue dog's separation anxiety? Or did I do something wrong? Or am I failing my dog? And I understand that you would be asking yourself all these questions. But I would like to reassure you that you didn't cause, no, you didn't cause the problem, and you are definitely not failing your dog. There are reasons why this happened. So, separation anxiety is actually very common 3 to 6 months after adoption. And you may ask, okay, but why that time frame? Why doesn't it just develop immediately, or why doesn't it develop much later? Well, in general, that is how long it takes for rescue dogs to overcome the impact of past experiences and learn to feel safe, and then become excessively dependent on you for safety. So, first, let's look at the baggage that your rescue dog may bring. So, rescue dogs come from a variety of backgrounds. Some of them are rescued from the streets, others are rescued from neglectful homes, and many are adopted from shelters. And so let's look at rescue dogs that have been adopted from a shelter. They often come with fear and accumulated stress, and they feel unsafe. Why? Well, first of all, they are continuously exposed to other dogs barking while they're in the shelter. There's actually very few moments of silence because there's always a dog barking for some reason or another. Often they are bullied by other dogs, especially if you happen to have a dog who is gentle, and who stays away from conflict, then those dogs are more likely to be bullied by other dogs. Just remember, this is a limited space with a lot of dogs. They often need to compete for personal space. I don't mean territory, but just, like space around them. And they may also need to compete for food, especially if the bullies get to the food first. And then social tension also arises from too many dogs sharing a limited space. And this is where the accumulated stress and the feeling of unsafety comes from. So now I like to call this setting the stage for separation anxiety. So you've gone and adopted your dog and you bring him home, and now what happens before separation anxiety develops? Well, first of all, because of his past experiences, your rescue dog has come to you feeling unsafe and very likely feeling stressed. And besides that, their nervous system may have certain characteristics that naturally makes them more prone to being fearful. So, being left alone may be perceived as a threat, so it's going to cause your dog fear. Despite past experience, they're still social creatures who prefer company, even if they don't want to interact, even if they want to be left alone, they still prefer company to being left alone. So, in the beginning, let's look at a combination of factors. In the beginning, your dog feels unsafe, they prefer company, and they may be afraid of being alone. And then, coupled with that, you give them a lot of love and you do your best to make them feel safe, and rightly so. I mean, why rescue a dog if we're not going to give them love and the best life possible? So, why then should your rescue dog, whom you treat with so much love, develop separation anxiety? So now we're going to talk about why it develops. So after experiencing uncertainty, fear, in some cases abuse, which happens in neglectful homes, and repeated life changes, especially if the dog was rehomed various times, a sense of safety then comes, okay? And it comes from being placed in a loving home, which is your home, experiencing a comfortable environment, which is all the comfort and the quality of life that you give them, having physical and emotional needs met. You know, you give them affection, you play, and all those things contribute then to your dog then feeling safe. Now, this takes time. Okay, it takes time for your dog's stress levels to come down, and it also takes time for them to learn to feel safe. So now this new feeling of safety may lead your dog to become especially dependent on you for emotional stability. So this means that they start to rely on you as their sole source of safety. And so when they are separated from you, because you have to go shopping, because you have to go out, because you go out to dinner, they experience anxiety and they experience panic also when you're not there. Another reason why separation anxiety develops in rescue dogs is if they have been exposed to trauma previously, and many of them have. Their nervous system becomes more sensitive and reactive to stressors, such as being separated from you. So these are the most important or the most common reasons why separation anxiety develops in rescue dogs. And you're not to blame, okay? You may still be wondering, okay, well, am I to blame for any of this? So I would like to say, no, you are not to blame. And this is why. Separation anxiety didn't develop because of the love that you give your dog. It developed because, first of all, they finally learned to feel safe in the new home, but then they over-attached and began to rely on you as their only source of safety, and so being away from you triggered panic. So you're not to blame. Okay, this is something that happened in your dog's system naturally. You didn't cause any of it. Okay, you are not to blame for your dog bonding in an unhealthy way. And you are also not responsible for the sensitive nervous system that makes them more prone to anxiety, either because they do have certain characteristics, like we mentioned at the beginning of the video, either because they have certain characteristics that make them prone to developing anxiety and fear, or because they experience trauma and now their nervous system is more sensitive to stressors. Okay, you are not responsible for any of that. But separation and anxiety can be solved with professional guidance for both you and your dog, and with science-based techniques that feel humane. This is very important. You cannot solve anxiety by adding more anxiety to your dog, by adding more stress, by adding more fear. And of course, it also requires commitment. So now you might still be asking, okay, so should I give my rescue dog less attention? And no, you shouldn't give him less attention. Separation anxiety doesn't come from love. Please remember that. A better approach is to allow space when your dog shows independence. For example, if your dog decides to go and sleep in another room, let's say you're watching TV and he decides to go and sleep in the kitchen, for example, or if he decides to go and look out the window in another room, or whatever it is, whatever things he does that have got nothing to do with you and where there's distance between you and him, don't, I said between, I wanted to say between you and him. So don't go and look for him if he's doing something else in another room. Don't call him to you. Just allow him space to be independent. So you don't force independence, you just respect independence. On the other hand, connect with your dog when they need reassurance. If their emotional needs aren't met, then anxiety will rise. Okay? So just remember this. You are not creating the problem, but you can certainly be part of the solution. I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you'd like to learn a bit more about separation anxiety, just scroll down to the description where you'll have access to a free training video. Take care.